And we're back here once again with another episode of the MSK Show. And this is going to be episode 478. So I hope you guys had a great day and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week that is ahead of you. And in this episode of the MSK Show, we are going to be doing a comic book review on Absolute Superman issue 2. So you guys are probably wondering, why am I just now getting to actually reading and reviewing Absolute Superman issue 2? Well, that was because around the time that this specific issue came out, I think me and Warren were also doing like Absolute Wonder Woman comic book reviews, and then we kind of went to another series, then we went to another series, and then I was also reading and reviewing Absolute Batman with Lapsed, and it was a whole thing, and not bad actually. I love reading comic books and I love reviewing them with you guys. And also at the same time, me and Professor Savage Dad, we would review like indie comic books, and we would do, and we like be reading and reviewing like the Transformer trades that would come out from the Skybound, Image collaboration right now, and other, collected editions as well. So, sometimes to get to another series, I have to, go like, okay, let's just dedicate time to just catching up on it. So, I want to just essentially catch up on, a lot of the comic books that I started to review on the comic book channel. And as you guys know, even if I don't review them with people, I did at one point review comic books by myself, where I just literally just had the book on my desk with my phone and I just flipped through the pages, because I think John De La Rose did that, and that was like my initial way I wanted to like review comic books anyway. So I'm gonna probably do that to finish Wolverine Deep Cut and Wolverine Revenge. Those I want to finish, and I know those are 4 or 5 issue miniseries. And then I want to review the final issue of TMNT X Naruto. I do want to finish that, and then we're probably gonna do Phenomenova issue 1 later this week, I think. Gotta just make sure we set a time for that. Probably going to be Friday, because Vaughn's been asking me to read and review Phenomenova issue 1 for a while, but he always yells at me when I tell him I haven't, because I was like, Vaughn, I got a life, I got all these ladies, I got all this money, got all these job problems, but it's okay. It's okay, guys. I love comic books, and no offense to anyone that liked Absolute Superman issue 1. I thought Absolute Superman issue 1 was written like complete boring garbage. Absolute Wonder Woman number 1 was actually really good. Absolute Batman issue 1 was very good. Absolute Superman number 1 was the weakest of the 3. I was sitting there going like, Jason, what the hell are you writing here? Because there's a shit. There's a part in issue 1 where Lois Lane, or not Lois Lane, fucking his mom is like talking about dancing in the rain or some bullshit like that. Must have been the absolute worst dialogue I've ever read in a comic book since I've been doing this thing. But, people said it got way better, and I have been actually buying this as a series ever since it came out, ever since we reviewed issue 1 with Labs Comic Fan. So, people said it got better. I'm trusting you guys that it got better. And in this issue, it did get slightly better. So I will say that I'm in for the ride with my little illegal immigrant that they're portraying in this book. Is Lazarus Ice? Who knows, actually. The homages are just too much. But as you guys know, in the comic book world, we have Dingus Den, who's just her room is filled with omnibuses. Now, do you know there was this person on Twitter? I forgot the name of it, because these people are usually losers, right? These people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And the people that write out those long paragraphs of comic books basically parading that they know what they're talking about, what I've come to find out is they don't actually like nuance in their opinions anyway. It's pretty much, it happened this way, it's only this way, and that's it. And it's like, guys, that's not how any of this works when it comes to movies and television and stuff. Everyone who discovers this stuff, whenever they do discover it, whatever entry point they discover it, has a bunch of different ways they view it. Now, are there facts and opinions and lies? Yeah, I'm not saying that, but just people, like we use Iron Man, for example. So like the common narrative for Iron Man is that he was essentially a nobody before the MCU. But there's clarification you need to add to that. He was a nobody to the masses, like the general public. He wasn't a household name. He actually was a character that had, guys, tell me if this is not, in your mind, could you factor this into being an underrated character. What underrated character do you know that got 2 animated series? And keep in mind, when I'm bringing that up, name, like, beside, I guess you could say Silver Surfer, and that like that other animated 90s Marvel cartoon that came out. Besides Fantastic Four and that Silver Surfer cartoon, what other character do you know that is super underrated, quote unquote underrated, that had 2 animated series? One in the 90s and then one in like the mid 2000s when I was growing up as a kid. Like, that really underrated, or did you just not pay attention? Because that's the thing, is some things are not just underrated. Some people just don't pay attention. It's okay to not pay attention to everything. That is completely fine. Like, guys, there's some really, really popular book series out there that I only knew as movies when they came out, like Dune and Game of Thrones and all that other stuff. That's not to say that Game of Thrones and Dune were popular before I discovered that. That's like that person that says, hey, this is only, this is new to me and popular because I just discovered it. That's not, life is not stagnant like that. Life doesn't work like that. Things can be popular and be big before you ever know, actually, so that's just kind of like an example of that. Like Guardians, you could probably argue was essentially nothing.
They were very, yeah. And even then, like, James Gunn took that property and did it to his own. One of my favorite ever Marvel runs is the original, like, current Guardians. Because remember, there's a Guardians, like, 3000.
The Bendis one? There's the Bendis
No,
one.
it's the one written by Dan Abnett that came out in 2008. His run lasted for 25 issues. It's set after the aftermath of Annihilation, and it leads into Thanos Imperative.
Okay, yeah, because I remember back when I was younger, I didn't have any money because I was broke and black. We had no comic book stores around here and nothing. And the internet wasn't as evolved where you could just order stuff, right? I just read who these characters were, like, online, and reading who the Guardians were as compared to the movie, I was like, wait a minute. They kind of character assassinated Drax in these movies. Like, Mantis is way different. Star-Lord is way different. Rocket Raccoon is way different. I don't know if Gamora was always a standard member of their team. I don't know that, but she's also way different in the books too. It's just, comic books are the only medium where people would actually advocate for less faithful shit, And if the more opposite version that's not faithful is more popular, then people say, well, it wasn't known or it didn't matter. It's like, well, that's the key though. Just because it's not known doesn't mean it doesn't deserve to be faithfully adapted. Also, it can still be considered an adaptation. The key difference with this, people, is understanding this. That could just be not a good adaptation of it, but it could be a good movie, right? There's all these different ways to look at it. Like, people said, Man of Steel was a horrible Superman movie, but a good movie if you take out, like, the Superman aspects of it. It actually kind of is not a bad movie if you take out the core Superman elements of it out. If that movie was just called, I don't know, Buttfuck Alien 3000, I would probably look at that movie entirely differently if it was called Buttfuck Alien 3000, but it is not. Alas, it is called Man of Steel. Do you know what I think that title really comes from? I think they just used John Byrne's title from his series, honestly.
It's interesting because it's like that doesn't really have much to do with his series at all, Yeah. James Gunn took from it more. James Gunn took from it more, and then people got mad at it, so, or mad at it as they do. But,
Because I think Man of Steel, like, I think that movie, if you look at it, I guess any run that, it'd be like Superman Birthright. That'd be like more of Mark Waid's run that they kind of based it on. But then, when people say based on a run, are they basing it off like one single issue or panel? That's always been very ambiguous too, because you guys understand, comic books are at the very minimum 24 pages released from like Marvel and DC or Image or Dark Horse, right? So when you say it's adapted faithfully, do you mean page for page? Because I don't think that's ever happened. The only time it's ever happened is in that Spider-Man, that Ultimate Spider-Man video game that came out a long time ago. That's the only thing that I can remember that is slightly adapted pretty faithfully. Or you can say, people said Watchmen. Yeah. Okay, so we're not really dealing with people that are...
Yeah, yes and no,
yeah, it's like, is that really maybe... it's like, these things, I always kind of call them this. I always say they're like inspired by this stuff. There's no way this is fake. Like, guys, that wasn't Flashpoint. If you call that Flash for me Flashpoint, I will throw you in the trash.
What do you mean that's not Flashpoint? No, I'm joking. Well, what I love about the medium of comics, and it's the thing that I love and why I'm so into them is I love you have these, a character like Batman or we could say Superman, right? They have over 80 years of history, and I don't think any one writer is like the definitive version. I think a lot of writers add great elements to characters, and there's definitely runs that are great and better than others. But I don't think you should ever point it to one and be like, that's the one best, or that's the definitive version. The character can't be different than that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I think I think that's up to the fans to judge what is a definitive for them. And keep in mind, that's only a definitive for like that specific like audience though. Cause like I've told people this, there was some obscure alternate reality shit that I really found enjoy when I was like looking into the stuff. People don't like Injustice that much as far as like what it does, but people understand I liked what Injustice offered, and keep in mind, I knew it was an alternate reality. That's the key, though. It's like as long as it's not in the main continuity, it really doesn't matter, honestly. Like I know that really gets people when I say that, but it really doesn't, though, because like the argument is don't do that stuff in the main timeline. Okay, I agree, but if this is an alternate reality that has no bearing on anything in that universe, you should be able to take liberties with that, guys. That's why they created, like, if we're being completely honest here, that's why DC Black Label exists, because you can do that. Like, should DC just stop putting out DC Black Label books because it's a different version of Batman with a different coat of paint? You get that liberty because it's not in the main universe. Are you like actually a moron? Like, I don't get what people are saying here. You don't want it in the main universe. That's perfectly fine. I agree with you. But this iteration of this character that's in a mini series, it's a mini series most of the time for this shit, which is like 6 issues, 5 issues max. And people are like, but that just destroys the character. It's not even in the main continuity. It doesn't matter. There's a good chance that comes out, you'll just forget about it because it's not in the main continuity. So I like when stuff is not in the main continuity because you can get liberties of creating stuff like that. Like, there's been a bunch of different alternate stuff that people like. Well, yeah, you get that freedom with it being in an alternate different reality. Biggest one of this is Ultimate Spider-Man, which is in an alternate reality from the original Brian Michael Bendis run. That's not the main Marvel continuity that he came out of. So I just think if you separate in your mind these things, they become a lot easier to accept. And Ryan, I'm not saying these runs have to be written like complete dog shit. They still have to be written somewhat competently well. This is just letting you guys know if it's a different reality, you got to just take not just let me take it what it is. It's just understanding that's not the version you would normally see, and it's just how that works in comic books, But in the comic book world, we deal with absolute morons. And people are still having this like, people are still doing this argument of like, what's better, omnis or trades and all that stuff. It's like, guys, it's really easy to understand. Matter. If you want to, it's like if you want to binge a series, just read the trades or the omnis or the compendiums or any form of collected edition. As you guys know, I have. Don't ask how many I have. You don't even want to know. Too many of these.
I think the better question is how many of those have you actually opened?
Oh, that's the thing, is opening them is a problem because my wrists hurt and I've been beating off too much. So, and there might be jizz stains on this. Oh, see, that's the thing, is I told people this. Sometimes I just haven't had a chance to get to these things. I do plan on reading them. It's just gotta give me some time.
That's what we all say.
That's the key though. Then it's just indefinite. It's like that fat person who says he wants to go to the gym. You ask him 6 months later, you already start that gym membership? Nah, it's just all for hotties, as I say to people. But to call people LARPers for just having this stuff, it's like, I always look at it this way. I'd rather order it, have it, put it on the shelf, and then eventually be able to just pick it off and read it, than not have it, order it, and then wait, and then lose my interest by the time I get it. That's how I look at it personally. But keep in mind, guys, there's other ways to read comic books too. Like, people like reading digitally. It's never been I was reading digital manga chapters when they would drop on those manga bootleg sites to read the newest stuff that came out. I was never a fan of that. I'm just not a fan of reading it that way. I always enjoyed reading the physical, book more. It's just me, I always say like this: if you want to be kind of in the know of what's going on with an ongoing or mini series when it's happening, when it's a monthly or bi-monthly series, then you just get the singles. If you're someone who just likes that Netflix binge model, then buying the trades or the omnis is for you. That's kind of like the easiest way of kind of getting it for people, Also, I think when you read certain stories in more of an omni and a trade way, I think the stories that have worse pacing are much more better in that collected edition format, because a story that is badly paced in single issues might be greatly paced better in a trade, because, certain stories benefit from a trade model. Some stories kind of don't. Like Absolute Batman could benefit from both. You could read those single, you could read those in trade. It doesn't really change anything. But something like this, I think Dingiston was right. Probably should read this in trade, because this can be a doozy. But I'm ready. I'm going through the fire with these single issues, man. I'm supporting the industry by giving money to Jason Aaron. Jesus Christ. How life could be different if I was not black. But the Clayface trailer dropped today. Did you like it actually?
Clayface, the kind of movie it is, a body horror movie, isn't something I'm into. I'm not a big horror person, and like things like that kind of just like creep me out, and like I don't like being creeped out, and just I'm not a horror guy. At the end of the day, there's sometimes I dabble in a horror. Like I'm very conflicted about last week. There's a new mummy movie that just came out.
Oh, I knew about that for a while. That's just never been. I saw the one with Josh Duhamel when I was a kid back in like 6th grade. Those just never really been my interest, honestly.
So I mean, I enjoy like the concept of like what mummy is, and of course, I mean, I grew up watching the first two Brendan Fraser ones. Obviously, this is very different, right? Because like when most people think the mummy, they think the Brendan Fraser ones, and so. But like this new one is just like I'm so conflicted, because it's like, okay, it's over like a premise I like. I always find Egyptian stuff like that cool, mummies and the Egyptian temples, pyramids, whatever, right? Anyway, that's a long way of me saying like, obviously I'm also really into all the comic world stuff. I'm just not a big horror guy, so I'm like always conflicted on these sort of things of like, okay, this is cool, but it's also like not my kind of thing that I like to consume, as far as it being like I'm just not a horror guy. So, this is one of those things I'm going to give a shot. Like, if it didn't have the DC label on it, like if it wasn't called Clayface and DC wasn't anywhere attached to it, I probably wouldn't watch it, to be completely honest. Just because, like, it's all those sort of things that I'm just like, that's not for me, But I think as far as a teaser goes, though, like that dude, the teaser definitely has me interested in it.
Yeah. It definitely piqued my interest. I'll say that.
Yeah,
like, it actually came out. I think it came out a lot better than I thought. It actually, I would say my interest is piqued. But I will say this, as you guys know, I've explained this 1,000 times on the show when it comes to like movies these days. Unless it's like Sonic, I don't really get excited for movies that much. I mostly am intrigued and interested in watching them. I don't get really overly excited anymore. But This is a movie that, I will say this, the trailer convinced me that it's going to be potentially a little bit more better than what I thought initially going in. Now, I will also say this. If this movie comes out and it doesn't do at the box office, there's a big problem with what you're going to bring up. What I'll bring up is this. Was there an audience for a Clayface movie? That's probably going to be the main deciding factor, because because it's going to come out in October, which originally it wasn't. Come on, this was going to come out in September, which is probably not a good time for that movie. If this movie doesn't do well, was this the right movie to go for at this moment in time? Because
I don't know. I'm thinking what they're trying to do is they're trying to convince your average horror audience, right? The thing about horror is horror has a really like solid fandom, right? Like they have their committed fans that watches everything, and those aren't the same as comic book fans, right? Like you have all these different people into different things, and so I think they're trying to find an interesting intersection of, well, if you're a comic fan like me and you're not necessarily into horror, you'll want to watch it because it has that Clayface, right? But then it's like if you're a horror fan, it looks to be like a solid horror movie. Like if you like don't care about comics at all, you could still very much go into it. And we've had some big body horror things come out in the last few years. I know The Substance was really big. I haven't watched it, but like I hear it's really good. And so, the genre I think is doing good. So, I mean, it has potential to do good beyond it just, the thing of, do we really want Clayface? I think it could have an audience out there.
Because I've seen some people bring up comments that went like, we're getting this as a version of the character to see the origin of this version of the character before we saw what he was in Creature Commandos. And yeah, guys, that's kind of why people have been bringing up the way the universe has rolled out certain things hasn't really been like, I guess, the most optimal, because if you saw Creature Commandos and you saw the way that Clayface was, and then you see the origin, I guess, of him in this movie or wherever he's going to end up at the end of the movie, you're sitting there going like, he went from it's and keep on, James Gunn has mentioned all like the actors and all this stuff is like the same stuff, but it's just a little jarring. I can understand. That is fully understandable, going from that version of him. But keep in mind, guys, you initially watched like the end result of his character in that show versus what you see him become. And, people did bring up that Marvel's way of doing stuff, of showing like just a certain style of superhero movie, was getting kind of boring, even if the concept of it wasn't the same. It's hard, because, is Clayface a movie that you want to put out when there hasn't really been like an established, Trinity or Justice League established yet? It's going to be a little hard, I like the difference of what they're trying to do. It's all depends on if it's a movie that's actually written pretty good and actually a movie that people could resonate with somewhat. Come on, guys, these ideas can work. It all hinges on if they're good, or if it's somewhat competently written. Maybe the ideas are a little like, okay, well, let's try it.
there's a couple of things with the DC strategy that I like that they're doing, and not saying that the strategy doesn't have flaws. I mean, I think there's, pros and cons to everything, right? But with what DC is doing,
I have no cons. I only have pros.
Sure. But what I really like that they're doing, though, is we're getting a mix of well-known and not well-known characters, right? In your first year, where you're having both Creature Commandos and Superman launch off both TV show and movie parts, and then movies this year, it's like, well, we get a good known character, Supergirl, and then it's like, oh, now Clayface is getting a movie. I like that we're not getting all the big hitters right off out of the gate, because then I think that means it would make you'd have a problem a bit later on that I think we see Marvel doing now, of trying to figure out how to adapt certain characters, and then I think Marvel has themselves in a little bit of a hole right now, and that's why they're rebooting themselves, that they realize. And so, but the other thing too is, I also, and something that you were just hinting at too, is like, I love the variety of the kinds of stories that you can tell with it. And so I'm hoping that the strategy that each movie can supposedly hold up on their own works out. Like, each movie holds up on their own, and not only that, but like, even though they're all within the DC universe, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily superhero movies, right? Superman is obviously a superhero movie, right? But like Supergirl, it's like that could be more sci-fi than anything, is how it looks like, or space fantasy, like what Star Wars is like what looks like that's gonna be. Now I would say this is very much horror, and so I like this whole variety of stuff that we're getting from DC versus the generic, just regular feeling superhero movie. Which, don't get me wrong, I mean, obviously that's what we're here for as comic book fans, because we love we love the superhero stuff, but it's great to see that variety with the characters and the IP, and I like that more DC's doing that.
I also think another thing that could come down to this is like, I think another narrative I saw, at least on Twitter, when I was like reading through the comments for some of these people, is that it feels like I don't know if these are paid accounts, because it's been revealed that some of these accounts that are popping up and getting really, really massive are just Indians trying to pay off their medical school. Now, I'm just not saying that that's for all these accounts, but it feels like these people are trying to convince you that this is actually, or maybe hype you up a little bit more than you're initially anticipating. Because keep in mind, like, I know people are bringing up the horror aspect, like you said, and several other things. Guys, just because it's a horror movie or a body horror movie or whatever you're going to describe for it, that just won't automatically make it good. Like, do you know how many bad horror movies we've seen in the last, a lot of them? I feel like people are falling into that trap of like, oh, but it's going to be this genre. It's like, that has no bearing on anything. It could be it could be a movie based off like Candyland. I don't know if that changes anything, honestly, but You know what? I will say I did like what the trailer offered. I just hope when the movie comes out, it's a much more better fulfilling movie than potentially what other superhero movies I've seen in the past.
I think it's going to be a very niche movie.
Yeah.
And what it gives me the vibes of, and I don't think it's obviously going to be nearly as big, but it could do what Joker did. Obviously, Joker was a massive success.
Yeah.
Financially and all that stuff. But I mean, just actually all across the board, right? There's no way to say that movie wasn't, bad in any way. But like what I mean by that though is like Joker is a very particular kind of movie. I mean, obviously I think the story of what that is does have a broader appeal, but like I think it's going to be like a Joker type of movie, but there's also a very niche story that's going to be for certain people, or niche kind of movie, I should say. And so
we'll see. The other thing to bring up is I understand the argument that people are bringing up, like it's the whole Sony thing of them making the villain movies and stuff like that don't have Spider-Man. But those were mostly made as a cynical way of keeping the Spider-Man rights and extending them. Because I forgot what their deal is. If they don't make a Spider-Man related movie that's like has Spider-Man in it or a Spider-Man adjacent project, then they just lose the rights.
Boy.
They're kind of just only making that stuff to keep the Spider-Man rights. That's really it. DC, I guess you could say, would people be willing to watch a Batman villain movie without Batman? People did it with Penguin. He wasn't in it. A lot of people apparently like that. The first Joker movie, you said, a lot of people went and watched that. It was financially successful. Is it a liked movie? I guess you have to ask that. I guess that is up for debate, honestly. Joker 2 exists, and that was, well, certainly one of the movies ever made. Truly just a movie. It had a director. It had a writer. It had Lady Gaga, who is just the worst Harley Quinn. That was Harley Quinn? Really? That was Harley Quinn? Oh, God. I had hoped you would pull off a good Harley Quinn, but, well, boy, was I wrong. What other villain movies are there? Like, literally, I'm trying to think of...
Not many, honestly.
I
like,
guess you could say Suicide Squad.
Okay, yeah, I guess that count. Yeah,
I get, like, outside of Suicide Squad, the 2 Suicide Squad movies, the 2 Joker movies, and
a whole bunch of Sonys we don't actually. I like 2 of the 3 Venom movies. Although I also am in the camp where I don't count Venom as a villain, but that's another talk, right?
It's just because like will there be an audience? Because I think all this other intricate stuff only applies if the movie itself is not at least somewhat good. Because Penguin, when I hear people talk about the Penguin series on they came on HBO Max some years ago, people didn't even bring up that Batman wasn't even in it. It's almost as like he didn't even exist in their brains, So if you're gonna try this concept out, I'm not saying you're not allowed to. It's just it all hinges on if this is written very, very good. I think it'll just be in the back of your head. Why? Because people are always going to say that why wasn't X character here? Like even in Winter Soldier, you're thinking like, why isn't Iron Man just coming out to help Captain America? It's just that thing in superheroes, guys. Like in comic books, you're always kind of in comic books, it's different because that's how you can tell people aren't reading comic books on the masses. In comic books, this happens every single time you read something, guys. Like a character isn't a solo series. It's not just automatically going to get help from every single buddy, like every other person that they're adjacent to. It's just something that not always happens. It's something that, in movies, if I would say wrap your head around the idea of a character always kind of showing up and helping another character, you're going to drive yourself insane. It's just never going to happen like that. So even if Batman's not in the movie, he most likely isn't. We have heard of like other DC heroes showing up. And then, because if you're just building it off of like the structure point of it, the first reveal of these different characters that we've wanted to see on screen for a long time, like Nightwing and these other, DC villains that are mostly going to be like, I imagine more Batman villains because they're in Gotham. Is Clayface the right movie to introduce him into? It just depends on how well it's executed. It all comes down to execution and story. That's really all it boils down to. But keep in mind, this concept that DC's hinging on hinges only on that. If this is written like complete shit, and people are, but it was a horror. You know, I know some bad horror movies. Want to watch those? Those are bad. Netflix got a bunch of them. Go watch those right now. And those are certainly, well, I would say, movies that I Netflix and chill with my wife that doesn't exist. But we'll see how it goes. But to be fair, before we even get Clayface, we're gonna get Supergirl. We're gonna get Lanterns. Is there really any hype to Supergirl? I don't know. I don't really think so. I mean, these Indians on Twitter would have you believe that Supergirl is the most hyped thing since sliced bread. Definitely not. I would say that. But, you know, we'll see what James Gunn does coming up. And also, Dingus, you know what today is?
New comic book day.
Really? It is New Comic Book Wednesday. And what we're going to do is look at the new stuff that came out really quickly, and then we'll get to the review. Also, Jorge Jimenez's, art on Batman is awesome. I will say that. Oh, another thing. This is, I will say, one of DC's biggest L's recently. Did you see the cover for Chip Zdarsky's Batman Omnibus? Not the Waltz comic shop edition.
I've not seen this.
It's I will show you guys right now. That shit looks ugly as fuck. I'm appalled if I would ever have that in my collection. I even thought of damn, I love Batman. I would even buy bad Batman omnibuses, for runs that aren't even considered good. This is one of them where I'm like, wow. God, I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't seen what you're talking about.
Oh my god, fucking caps lock. Batman by Chip Zdarsky Omnibus Volume 1. Put it up right here on eBay. This is okay. I have to scroll down a little bit so you guys can't see my actual name because I have a secret identity. I have an alias, dingus. I have an alias I must keep intact.
Whoa, damn. Ooh. It's okay if you leak it.
Oh god. Here it is. There you go. That's the main cover.
That's the main one?
This is the main cover. I thought this was a early concept image of when they announced this. That's the main cover. This is
zoom in on the middle face part there.
This is ugly. This is terrible.
I don't like to try to say bad about art, but no, that's bad.
That's just awful. I know way to slice that. That's just bad. Here, I'll show you guys the other.
I was trying to think of a positive and I couldn't. So when that comes from me, something's bad.
This is just the fact that I have to keep this in my God. No, there's so many disgusting things I could draw on this face right now, but I won't do it because I'm not like that. All right. Here is the Waltz Comic Shop edition, which is just volume 1 of his. When it starts his run on Batman, it's just I'll show you guys right here. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it. Give me 1 second right here. This is, and keep in mind, Chip Zdarsky posted this on Reddit for a first look. Yep. That is his Batman run right there. That's it.
Not a fan of
that. Sorry, Chip. God, that's ugly. That is disgusting. Please, DC. You've done so much. You've done so good. Don't make this ever again, please. Here's the cover. This is the direct market cover. Right here. So Walt's Comic Shop has special retail cover for Batman Chip Zdarsky Volume 1. I don't think I've seen retailer covers for Omnis before. Is that rare or am I missing something? Man, I normally would never do this. I would spend the extra money to have that as the cover because that other one is fuck.
I agree.
Good Lord. I'll spend the extra money. Keep in mind, because MSRP for that thing is $110 or whatever. That is $125. PayPal paying for. Let's do it. Let's do it. Dingus, all your money on comic books, right?
That's what already is happening, I go to the comic shop and impulse buy things, so that's what happens.
Jorge Jimenez posted this video on Twitter of he wants to be known as the more modern, definitive, Batman artist, and I'm pretty sure he will be. I'm pretty sure when most people think of Batman being drawn from the last, 8 years, it'll be definitely Jorge Jimenez and David Finch.
Mm-hmm.
the main Batman ongoing series from DC, guys, ever since Tom King's run, was drawn by David Finch, one of my favorite artists ever. Art is just spectacularly beautiful. And then going from David Finch to Jorge Jimenez, amazing. Utterly amazing. Keep on, look, even Chip, even Jorge Jimenez knows the Walt Simonson shop direct market cover is better than the main one. Thank you. Look at that. That looks way better. I just don't understand. Someone got that image sent to them and went, good enough. Just no way. Come on, man. Chip, I would be so mad. They should do what Image Comics did. You know when Image Comics had those like library editions that got kind of messed up on like Volume 3? They should just say to everyone, hey, we messed up. We're delaying Chip Zdarsky's Omnibus. We're going to give you guys a whole new cover because that is just one of the most ugliest, disgusting covers I've ever seen. It is bad. Like, that is a straight up 0 out of 10. I can't even think of anything I like about it other than nothing. There's nothing there. Yeah, I would rather spend the extra money buying the Walt Simonson shop, Walt's Comic Shop version. But here's some of the new stuff that came out. Did you get any of this stuff this week?
Let's see here. I got the new Superman. I got Green Lantern, Justice League, Spider-Man, Superman.
I did buy this one too. Yeah. Is this still the Jeremy Adams run on Green Lantern?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. This looks like a cover from like paying a homage to like Barbie or something. Looks cool. I like
it. Kyle's in Hollywood, so.
Is Kyle Rayner the main Green Lantern in the story now? Or is he just being introduced as one of the more main characters?
So the story is mainly focusing on him, I think. And then Hal's having like his side journey that's kind of happening that's sprinkled throughout. So
okay.
I think that's what they're doing.
I will say some of the covers for these, I mean, I'll have to buy these in trade at some point because these are too far long at this point. So some of the main covers for these have looked so good recently. Exquisite Corpses. I think this is the final issue for this for James Tynion. For you're not a horror fan. This is a more of like a Dangerous Game situation. Cyclops issue 3, Void Rivals, Wolverine. You dropped Wolverine because what did Saladin Ahmed do to you? What did he do to you, Dingus?
Last arc was just okay.
Oh God, you're like, you know what? I'm not missing anything if I just.
I need just cut some. I need to make room for other stuff.
Yeah, it's like in the Dark Knight when the Joker wants those minions. We're gonna do tryouts.
Exactly. I did get. I think I got Corpse Night.
I did. I made sure I added this to my books to buy for next week. As you guys know, I buy these every single 2 weeks, so I let it culminate over a couple weeks.
Yeah, I usually go every 2 to 3 weeks, and then I go. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got Corpse Night.
Dude, I don't know if you ever bought one of these Image comic books that came out some months ago last year. It was called like Viking or something like that. It's barely on issue 3. There's been like a 6-7 month delay. Like, if you guys don't know, because I know a lot of people only bring this up with like certain indie comic book creators in the indie comic book space. There are delays in the mainstream. Not everything comes out on time. It's just that, well, most things come out on time. It's just that even when something is delayed, people don't like that. Like the Ghost Machine line from Jeff Johns and Image comic books currently right now. People, if you read in the places that I'm reading at, people are very, very unhappy that Rook Exodus is not coming out pretty consistently, or Red Coat or Geiger. And, when delays happen, people are not happy about that. They just aren't, it's just, even mainstream comic book companies are not, safe from people, getting mad at books getting delayed. The Amazing Spider-Man Versity. What? The fuck? What's it supposed to be?
Screw diversity when there's Spider-Versity.
Spider-Versity. Star Wars Galaxy Edge, Echoes of the Empire. Ooh. Are they just pumping out meaningless Star Wars ongoing series just because? I feel like none of that stuff ever catches on. Like the last time any of this stuff caught on was like Darth Vader's solo ongoing series or something like that.
Maybe. I really like the first issue of the new Mole series.
Ooh, okay.
So I look forward to that. I don't care much for the Galaxy's Edge one. I didn't get it.
What is this? Head Looper? Dive into Head Looper for Andrew McLean's masterclass in kinetic action and dark humor. Witness Norgal behead mythic beasts while his chatty served witchhead companion. What the fuck?
I'm interested.
It's okay. Kind of interested.
That's a big one too. Look at that. It's 8 books for 80 pages.
Jesus Christ. So I guess if there's a delay between issue 1 to 2, that would make sense, obviously. Celebrate 10 years of the award-winning hit series with a new extra-length number 1.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before.
Never heard of that. Not bad. Not bad at all. In Your Skin. Is this one of those Image comic books that's going to be like on the eBay collector market, just spiking in value? Because like there's been several of these that have like spiked in value. There's one, I forgot this other one. I think it's called Treacherous, or there's one Dork, White Sky.
It's funny you say that. I was just going through my pile and I got Dork 3 right there that I just picked up today.
Dingus, you are a child. That is written for like maybe 5-year-old kids.
No, I love Dork so much.
In Your Skin. What is his name? Priyanka is a Bollywood Uber fan who has been obsessed with film. I'm already lost. No, I'm good. That sounds like some fucking slice of life bullshit. Adventure Time.
I did get that Curse of Shirley Johnson 5. That's what I'm looking forward to checking out.
Spider Noir. It's facsimile. Sentry has a new ongoing. Okay. What else is here? I don't think there's much coming out this week. There's a solid amount this week. There's not a lot. Star Wars, Darth Maul, Black and White and Red.
I don't know when this came out, but I picked up something that claims it's in a compendium, but it's really not a compendium.
Oh God,
because it's really small. Because it's like a normal trade size, but I couldn't resist buying it. You want to see what it is?
What is that?
It is. I saw this at the comic book store. Simpsons Comics. Colossal Compendium. Not really colossal, if you ask me. Maybe that's a joke though, because it's Simpsons. But you know, couldn't help it.
Just that hurts. The lying on that book is utterly insane. Colossal Compendium. That is probably 20 issues max.
Oh, it's not even. I promise you that. It's I couldn't resist though. So
I think next week for trades and omnis is going to be a little bit more bigger. Apparently, it's comics giveaway day next week. Apparently, yeah. Good luck. Fucking hell. Transformers Deluxe Edition, Book 2, hardcover, Justice League Unlimited Volume 2. This is technically Volume 3. If you count the We Are Yesterday event that they already had, that's actually Volume 3. I hate how like that is not considered Volume 2, but this is. It's like fucking numbering. Then you're gonna get the other one with all the tie-ins. I think that this one is the one with all those like JLA Unlimited tie-ins. Actually, no, actually not. This is before all that stuff. What else we have here? Elric, the Sleeping Sorceress. What in the world is that? Titan Comics. Is this based off anything?
Go up. Let me look at it again.
Holy smokes! An Elric I've been on a rock for years. Is this somewhere I can? Is this somewhere I can just jump into, or should I find previous runs and books? Love fantasy. Yeah, you can jump right in. I've read various Elric minis from both Titanverse Comics and Fuzzy. This looks pretty cool. I would definitely add this. This looks cool as hell. I'm gonna add that. Interesting.
Oh, there you go. Free comic book day version of Aqua Manatee right there. There you
go. This might be the greatest gift to humanity we've ever received. This is adorable. This is very cute. Now, would I ever buy this? No, because I have dignity. So sadly, I can't. Absolute
on,
Superman.
You want it.
Absolute Superman Volume 1, Last Dust of Krypton hardcover. Oh, this is just the Jim Lee Free Company Day edition. Oh, cool. Okay. Oh, what else is here?
Oh, you just skipped a Jeff Johns on a compendium there.
Oh, this is huge. I will definitely be getting this.
That's pretty cool.
Teen Titans by Jeff Johns, Compendium 1. 1,326 pages.
For $60? That's pretty killer.
That's go on certain sellers, that's like $40. Just crazy. People
even better. I'll take it. Hey, I'm always here for getting the best deal. I won't lie about that.
We're not paying MSRP around here. That doesn't happen.
Listen, I go for the deals and then the single issues that I see on the shelf and can't say no to.
And then I go for the horse. Right? No.
Yeah.
And now here comes next week's controversies. You have DC's Finest, the Joker, the last ha-ha.
Oh, that's next week? I want that.
Next week, yeah.
I need to order me a copy of that. I want to get that.
I might get this, but this is also being written. This is written by Dennis O'Neil. So that's definitely be definitely a factor. I will say I'm interested in getting this. The last I think the only Joker DC's Finest they've released, unless you count the Killing Joke, which you could probably say that's more of a Joker-led story though. So,
but it's only that story and a bunch of Batman stuff, so it's still more Batman.
Yeah.
This is their very first fully
Joker
one.
DC book,
yeah. So, which is why I want it. Like, for example, one of the reasons why I'm excited for it is, I mean, I think it's cool to have something Joker focused, and he is one of my favorite characters ever. But like, also, it's. I think some of those collected editions, if it focuses on a character and like what that character is doing, is better. Like a example I'll give is one of my favorite Joker stories, and not a lot of people talk about this one as far as great Joker stories go. Is in Scott Snyder's Batman run, he did. Do you remember Death of the Family that he did?
Yeah.
And it's the one where it's like, he has his face cut off, and I love that story.
Mm-hmm.
I think reading the they released that trailer, or not trailer, oh my gosh, that arc in a hardcover that is exclusively that with its one shots all tied into it. And I think that's the definitive way to check out that story, and not like when I reread it in the his Batman Omnibus, it just doesn't hit the same because you don't have all that extra stuff that's focused around the character. So I'm hoping that Joker collection will do it, and I'm gonna have to actually.
You're gonna have to send me that, because I was thinking about just getting the second Batman Omnibus by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo.
I got both.
Yeah, because it's the one where it's the cover of him. It's the cover of him just holding his face, right? I think that's the cover on it.
That sounds right. Sure.
Yeah. I don't know why I didn't think about getting it. Oh, because I already had it because I was thinking about getting the omnibus version of it. That's why. Okay.
Yeah, I got the hardcover. It's the one I'm thinking of came out like several years ago. It was one of the comics it was part of the batch of comics that I got that really got me into diving deep into comics. So that's probably one of the reasons why I also really like that story a lot, is because of that personal sort of
the Wizard of Oz trade.
It's a Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, Dynamite does all that Disney adjacent
stuff.
Okay,
hold on. That well, first off, that's Warner Bros. But yeah. I didn't know they did a comic of it. That's cool.
Yeah, Dynamite does all of those, I wouldn't say obscure, but stuff you would know from seeing it on the big screen as comic books. So they do like Lilo and Stitch, Maleficent.
Yeah, I got the first Stitch one, and so yeah.
That's the same company that does oh my god, Thundercats. I never really bought into that, actually. I know I got the first trade.
I've only watched a couple episodes of the show and I liked it.
The Ghost, what the hell? Dark Horse Gargoyles. Yeah, next week is way stacked. There's
we talked about this last time we were on. I picked up the first issue of Nectar since we were talking.
I picked it up too.
And so I'm curious at checking that out.
Avatar, The Last Airbender. Oh my god. I'm not an airbender, and Avatar is for losers. Yes, it's Tiger's Island. That's one of those Image comic books that come out that people are buying at the retailer level, having it sell out. There's several Image comic books that are currently selling out at the retailer level. I think Dork had like 6 printings.
Currently. Well, not that. It's at least has 4, which is really insanely good though, regardless. Like,
yeah,
it's pretty crazy to think about.
The Amazing Spider-Man Sins Past trade paperback. So if you guys don't know, this is the culmination of J. Michael Straczynski's Spider-Man run that has one more day, I would imagine, in it too.
What's the issues?
Or it might just be Sins Past. Because I
don't think those numbers don't look right to me for one.
Yeah.
It's called.
Because the way that this modern era Epic Collection of Spider-Man is collected, if you just look at like how some of this is collected or how it's mapped out, like, okay, you'll see like, okay, this is volume 2, right? Then you go back, now you're on volume 14. I don't know how that fucking works, and if you go back further, I should have picked this up when it was available to me. Now this is out of print and it's really up in value. Fucking hell. But I don't know why they just don't reprint the J. Michael Straczynski like Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's a Spider-Man run I really want to get into. So
and volume 2 you can get. Volume 2 is easy to get. It's always available. 1 is not. 1 is a lot of money.
Just remember that they Marvel wants you to read everything on the rack or pay astronomical pricing.
I mean, astronomical, right?
That's what I meant. Yeah, words don't work right sometimes.
Yeah, emphasis on the ass part.
Right.
Oh, God. All right, give me a second here, guys. We're going to start the review here in just a moment. But yeah, I love comic books. I love reading them. I would love to break my omnibus virginity, coming up this year. Or my omniginity, as I call it, right? No?
Wow.
See, thing is, I'm the man with the plan up here. I'm the man who, decides how life should go.
So are you telling me you've never reviewed a omnibus on here?
I don't think I have before. Never. Biggest.
You should do it.
Most pages I've ever read for a book was the Absolute Power original. Yeah. The Absolute Power hardcover probably had the most pages I've ever reviewed on here with Laps, because it had like the free comic book day book, it had the Ground Zero book, and it had all 4 of the mainline books. I wish it would have had one of the tie-ins in it, because Batman had a letterbox in one of the issues when they came back to health, and I was like, what the fuck? How'd you go from this to this? I wish that hardcover is good. I just wish it had 1 or 2 more tie-ins to cover things up. But I think that's the biggest book we've reviewed on here, unless you count the Ultimate Invasion book. That was the one that it's the Ultimate Invasion book by Jonathan Hickman to start off the new Marvel Comics Ultimate Universe. That one was, I wouldn't really call it bad. I just call it boring. It didn't really interest me at all. And I read it, I was like, all right. But I guess, to each his own. I will say the most fun I've had reviewing and reading a book was definitely Jeremy Adams' Green Lantern first volume, the Transformers first 2 volumes from Daniel Warren Johnson, and definitely Ultimate Spider-Man. Those were so good. Man, those were just like, just jerked me off and fucked me twice, actually. Good Lord. No?
Oh, boy.
No, I thought you were fun.
No. Well, you see, if we're having other people jerking off each other, you gotta have a giant circle jerk,
That's true. That means do not read Deadpool Wolverine WW3. That is the worst written comic book I've ever read. It was ass.
That was bad.
Not just
I
bad.
sadly have all of those.
You know what's crazy? If we sold that to a vendor, they would give us $1 for all 3.
If even.
I would literally give you, if someone said, "Hey, I'll take those off you for $5, you can have them." That isn't worth the money it's printed on. That isn't even worth like the ink it was written on. I'm good. Book was horrible. It was just absolute ass. Like that image of Martin Scorsese being like absolute ass. Yeah, that's what Deadpool WW3 is. Fuck, that shit was bad.
I was waiting for it to get better. It did not get better. The only reason I stuck with it is because there's 3 issues, and so it's like, oh, you already have one? Okay, might as well complete the collection.
Yeah,
but then you hate yourself because it's like this didn't get it better.
That is the book that I will always say would reinforce someone's opinion that modern Marvel comic books are bad. That one is awful because not only does it really not go anywhere, it's like softcore porn without the payoff to it. You know, like you're waiting for the part where the girl just gets absolutely rammed. Never happens.
Wow.
You never have it happen as a possibility. What in the world?
What?
Oh, right. Apparently on Twitter, they're going to shut down the communities thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the whole communities thing, apparently they are shutting that down, actually.
Huh.
All right, let's do this. God, I'm old, dingus, and black, and hot, rich, and good looking. Would you agree?
Right. Sure. Not really, but sure.
All right, let's fucking go, as Wolverine says. What else is here? No, I think that's pretty much it. What else is Marvel Comics doing these days? All right, Marvel Comics. Yeah, I think we covered all the stuff that recently got announced. Yeah, today they're just really promoting the Spider-Man Superman #1.
I mean, understandably so.
Yeah. Miles Morales is getting a brand new #1 coming up soon in August.
I did end up going with this cover for Spider-Man Superman.
You know what's crazy? There. I actually went for the main cover. That's what I did.
I remember you telling me that's what you were gonna do.
Yeah, there was another one, but I was like, you know what? Main cover it is. Miles Morales Spider-Man. This is how you know he's not Spider-Man to people. Oh God, they call him Miles Morales. Fucking hell. Back in the red and black, written by Brian Edward Hill and artist Nico Leon, are bringing Miles Morales back to basics and the streets of Brooklyn in an all-new Miles Morales Spider-Man series launching this August, covered by Simone De Mio. I think the cover looks all right. The cover looks all right, I guess. With the multiverse adventures behind him and back in his original suit, Miles is starting to settle into being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man again. Things are going well until a threat from his father's past returns that puts both Spider-Man and the Morales family in the crosshairs. Okay. All right. You know what? I'll try it out, I guess. We'll see if it works. We shall see. Anything else? I think that's pretty much it. Oh, we had that Gooner bait. What? Soccer? Marvel's soccer variant.
What? Are you a soccer fan?
You know what? This one looks pretty cool. I will say that looks awesome.
You just say that because it's Iron or Tony Stark on there.
It does. Emma Frost invites you to study. I ain't going nowhere with this bitch. This bitch is crazy. I am okay.
I say YOLO.
If Marvel's doing like a soccer one shot, are they trying to kick us in the nuts? That's what it all culminated to? A soccer one shot? Fuck yeah. My guy Tony Stark is out there man, just imagine out of shape he's gonna have to. This is what normal people do with sports. They run. Yeah, that's what kind of normal people do when they play sports. All right, guys, let's have some fun. Hey everyone, I am MSK, aka Master Swag King, coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. And in today's video, we are going to be doing a comic book review on Absolute Superman issue 2. So if you guys have not had a chance to check out our Absolute Superman issue 1 comic book review that I did do with Lapsed Comic Fan a long time ago, then I would highly recommend you guys go and check out our Absolute Superman issue 1 comic book review. That way you guys can understand how we felt about that issue compared to this one. Now, as you guys know, Dingus Den is not Lapsed Comic Fan, obviously, but
what? I'm not? I thought I oh wait, right. We got to keep that secret that
it's like one of those things in the Scooby-Doo episodes when the villain gets revealed. It was me all along, Barry. Yeah. So Me and Labs Comic Fan, we usually do like the absolute Batman comic book reviews, and then when I had Lunchbox Warren on, we did like several comic book reviews on like absolute, like, you know, yeah, absolute Wonder Woman. Oh, wait a minute, holy fuck, who the fuck is this?
Looks like you're going to the Shadow Realm, Jimbo.
I Shadow Realm myself. Life is good, but it can be better. Okay, great. Why was I just randomly thinking of Wonder Woman 1984 in my brain? Why? Just why?
Just something wrong with you, but we already knew that.
Patty Jenkins, what happened to you? All right. All jokes aside, let's fucking. Hey everyone, I am MSK, aka Master Swag King, coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Like on this video if you enjoyed it, and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. And in today's video, we are going to be doing a comic book review on Absolute Superman issue 2. So if you guys have not had a chance to check out our Absolute Superman issue 1 comic book review that I did with Laps Comic Fan several months ago, then I would highly recommend you guys going and checking out our Absolute Superman issue 1 comic book review. That way you guys can understand how we felt about that issue compared to this one. Now, obviously, Dingus Den is not Laps Comic Fan because, you know, that's just how that goes, because Dingus Den has always done this to me. He's secretly always here. He just takes a different shape, actually. Kind of like, you know, the darkness in a lot of these horror movies. Essentially, they're not even villains. They're just different shapes of evil, I would say. Or are you just an Indian dingus? Maybe you're just an Indian in somewhere around the country and you're just fucking with me.
Obviously that one.
Yep. See, that's the one that's the most plausible, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, all jokes aside, as you guys are probably going to ask, hey, MSK, why are you getting to this series so late? And it's probably like 17 issues deep. Okay, so when you guys have, you know, watched the comic book review videos on the channel, you guys also have to understand that I have a lot of things going on in my own life as well. You know, obviously I'm not just doing this full time. I actually have a job, you know, and I'm not actually a real black man. I'm not one of those black guys without a job. Actually, I actually work. And, you know, me and Laps, we've done Absolute Flash, we've did Absolute Batman, we've done Ultimate Invasion, Green Lantern, Absolute Power. You know, when Lunchbox Warren was on the show, we did Ultimate Wolverine, Naruto, XTMNT. We also did Absolute Wonder Woman. And, you know, we've done a lot of, you know, comic book reviews on here as well. You know, sometimes when you know, read and review a lot of comic books with people, you know, some series just kind of get on like the back burner. Like I remember like me and Savage Dad were like doing like comic book reviews on like indie stuff and like the Transformers new run from Daniel Warren Johnson for at least the first 2 trades. Hopefully at some point in the future we can, you know, get back on that again and just, you know, review the later 2, because I do want to finish that, you know, run out, because I really enjoyed the first 2 volumes. I thought they were very, very well done. So, you know, just because you guys haven't seen me finish out a mini series or continue an ongoing series in terms of like a comic book doesn't mean I forgot about it. It's just, you know, gotta get some time to, you know, get it done. So just want to let you guys know, the series that we started, I do plan on finishing them either with someone or by myself. So Wolverine Deep Cut, I will finish that actually. TMNT X Naruto, I will finish that. Wolverine Revenge, I'll be finishing that. And then we also have to do a comic book review on Phenomena Nova issue 1. We're going to do that because I told Vaughn I was going to do it. And I always keep my promises to white people, not black, white people for sure. And we will get all caught up with this series. Now, I'm going to try and dedicate a lot more time to the series to, you know, get all caught up with it. But, you know, this was an issue 1, and I just want to make sure I preference this out. If you guys go back and watch my Absolute Superman issue 1 comic book review with Lots Comic Fan, you guys know how I felt about issue 1. It's not like I truly despised it like Deadpool, Wolverine, WW3. I just honestly felt like the dialogue was so bad. It was written like just complete shit. Like the dialogue was so uninspiring. And people said it got better. So that's kind of why I'm still reading it, is because people said it got better, which is fine. You know, I'm okay with like a TV show, like using this as an example, like a TV show having a not so good episode 1 and then it kind of just gets better and better and better. That's fine. You know, all things start somewhere, and they can improve and get better. But I would say out of all the 3 issue 1s from Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman's definitely had the weakest issue 1. It for sure was just like, all right, I guess this just sold well because it said Absolute on it. There's no way that sold based off how good it was, because that was for sure not happening. But I will say this issue is a whole lot better. I don't know how far you're into the series. Did you like the first issue of this series, actually?
So I've been keeping up with it, except for the latest issue, which I just bought today, so I haven't been able to check it out yet. But I did remember liking the first issue. Now I didn't read that since it came out, so like I don't remember a bunch of the specifics other than like I just remember liking it. I remember liking seeing the new take on Krypton that it focused on mainly, if I remember correctly. I flipped through it like briefly before looking into what issue 2 had, but no, I've been enjoying all the Absolute stuff. I don't think there's any one that's particularly bad, and I've enjoyed the different take of what they've been doing with Superman.
Yeah, I also think, you know, when it comes to like how successful the Absolute universe has been, looking back on it now compared to then, people had said on Twitter, they're like, I was kicking myself for not picking up the number 1s. I'm like, that's crazy. It's weird because I knew it was going to be a hit, though. It was like DC's, I would say, first stamp of approval at starting like a separate alternate universe compared to like the other kind of like half-assed attempts they did with like Earth 1s and stuff like that. Or was Future State supposed to be like their attempt at it? Who knows, honestly. But they've always tried to get an alternate kind of Marvel Comics universe going. It never actually got off the ground because they just never actually fully committed to it. Like if the sales dropped off at any point, they were just like, you know what, pull the plug, we're done, it's over, nothing to see here, burn it all down. But this time they did stick out with it, and they actually got a creative team on it of known writers that actually were able to market the books too, because I think a big thing that comes along with this stuff, people need to understand moving forward now with comic books, is that if there's a known writer on it that has a fan base, whether you like them or not, the book will sell. And, you know, they started out with Scott Snyder, who's doing very well right now with Absolute Batman. I've not been reading Absolute Wonder Woman since like issue 3, but Kelly Thompson apparently is doing very well in Absolute Wonder Woman. And, you know, Absolute Superman is still one of the top sellers right now for DC. So, you know, and it's only extended. We have Absolute Flash and Green Lantern. We're going to have Absolute Green Arrow coming up very soon. So that one's weird because Oliver Queen is already dead. Sorry, it's a spoiler, guys. Oliver Queen is already dead. So who is Green Arrow? Who? I don't know who he is. And apparently you have this like butch lesbian looking Diana Lance. So who knows? But, you know, the Absolute Universe line for DC right now is selling very, very well. So keep in mind, guys, when I'm bringing this up to you, I haven't read issue 1 in some months, but I do remember most of it. It's just the writing just kind of bored the shit out of me. I will say, hopefully the writing gets a little bit more better with each issue, because I feel like Jason Aaron is writing something of like, it's like those TV shows you watch where the characters are like, do you know the quantum theory of dynamics and horseshoe theory to get into the spectacular triangle rectum? What? What?
You just tell me. See, I don't think you said real words.
That's what these 2 issues have been. Are these real words? Because that's what I'm reading. Because like every single time I read one of these books, it's only been 2. They've not been, well, issue 1 I didn't really care for a lot at all. This one, a little more better. It's just like you get dialogue in here where it's like, would you like to know about the honeypot horseshoe big dog daddy king theory that I've been coming? What the fuck are you talking about? Just talk normal, please. Speak like a human being. And I forget, these aren't human beings. These are aliens technically on a planet talking about science and stuff like that. So, you know, would you like your meticulous coffee, sir? Sure. Let's just say that, you know? But we're going to pick off. Sorry, picking off. Good Lord. English is not my first line of language here, as you guys know, too. I'm joking, guys. Joking. So we're going to pick off. Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness. I'm doing it again.
Over 9,000!
we're going to pick up where we left off with issue 1, which was months ago. So I will say this. The best parts of this book come from when Superman is attached to Lois because of the handcuff, and they are, evading the Lazarus group, actually. So the big controversy with this book is that apparently a lot of people have been saying that Superman is an allegory for what is going on currently with like ICE and illegal immigrants. If you want to read that into it, that's up to you. I'm not telling you what to read into your own comic books that you bought with your own money. I just don't think that's kind of true, because that's kind of been a Superman thing in a lot of different media that I've watched from him. Like, there'll be Superman different media adaptations where, like, yeah, the military is gonna definitely want to confront a person that's that powerful. This is how it's gonna be, obviously. So the book starts off so this is the iteration of this Superman is a little bit different because he's had time with his parents. So in most iterations that you read of him, he's already on Earth without his parents. In this iteration, he lived on Krypton until he was like, 15, 16 years old. And then the planet exploded based off of what we're going to find out later in this series as well, right? And it shows off right here where he's just, I guess you could say, in school,
just at home.
Just doing a school project, and he sent something in that the teacher was like, hey, how did you figure this out? I don't think you could do this. And then he said, yeah, I wrote this myself. That's essentially what the first page is like. They're on a video call or a Skype call with the teacher, and the teacher doesn't think that he could have written something that good about this thing. And he says, yes, I wrote it. Teacher didn't believe him, and this went on to the next person. That's essentially it, right? So then after that, we pick up on Earth where we left off when I did the first Absolute Superman issue 1 of comic book review with Lapsed. And, the person that confronted him was Lois, and she is like, hey, you need to stand down. And then he's like, he's not responding, because that was his thing, was like he just doesn't respond. And he's been, I guess, roaming through Brazil ever since Krypton exploded, right? And then she says, you're being detained by the authority of Lazarus Corpse on your damn knees now. And then she starts speaking Portuguese. So if you guys don't know, Brazilians speak Portuguese. That's their native language. It's not, people think it's Spanish. No, they speak Portuguese. Okay. So she's attached to him, and he's just like, all right, can I just leave then? And she's like, no. Put your hands behind your back. And she blasts him with her gun, as you guys see right here. I do like the art on the Absolute Superman books by what's his name? Rafal Sandova. I think that's his name, actually.
Sandoval.
Yeah. And keep in mind, from issue 1, I think this is how would I say this though? His suit has something on it where it has like this Jarvis person talking to him. I'm pretty sure that's his dad. Or I'm pretty sure that's his dad.
I don't know who's talking to him. You know what? I'm going to double check that.
And then
I never read it as that way, but I could be wrong, and that could it would also make sense.
I don't remember, because it's been a while since I read issue 1, but there is like this AI voice consciousness in the suit that's talking to him, and it says, hey, because he keeps calling these chuffs.
Well, he's just called Soul. I don't know.
Okay.
SOL, Soul. So I don't know if there's anything else beyond that. Like, I just read it as a new thing.
Okay, that's going to clarify. I totally forgot, because, like I said before, guys, issue 1 had me just going like, all right, cool. Get me to book 2, please. So
yeah, just some AI is what I can tell.
So the AI named Soul is talking to him throughout the book, and Superman makes it. Okay, so basically, it's like this kind of fish out of water thing. He's cuffed, but he calls them chuffs. Eventually in the book, he does call them cuffs, actually. So he like kind of wants, he just says, just don't hurt her. And then she says, this is Agent Lane. Target's suit is reactive. It's crawling up my arm. So his suit apparently can radioactively interact with people that are on top of it. So maybe it's one of these defense mechanisms for the book, for like his suit, where it could just like, knock people off or rip off their limbs, which is crazy to think about. So they're telling him to freeze and everything in this iteration, you know. And right here we have the Peacemakers right here. That's I remember this group from the last book. They're part of the Lazarus Corps. So they're telling him to obviously, stand down. And then they start shooting at him because they're like, light his ass up. To be fair, he does say, should I just rip her arm off? I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to say it to a federal agent. You're going to just rip their arm off. Probably not a good idea. But he is Superman. So obviously that would be easy for him, And one of the guys says, did you hear that? He said he's going to hurt her. He's attacking Lane. Suspect is resisting. This reminds me of all the black people that get attacked by cops. Oh, God. See, Jason, I get what you mean now. I get you now. So then he's getting shot at. Then he flies away. And then his cape, because we don't see his cape in the first issue, his cape starts forming. So apparently his cape is not just some cloth that we see in other iterations. This is actually something that just manifests as a shield in the suit, actually. So, he is saying, or she says, let me go get this thing off me. He says, did she forget she's the one who chuffed me? And, Soul is saying, fascinating, this metal reforms itself as quickly as I can sever it. This will take some time. She blasts him. He finally talks to her. The art right here is so good from the first page compared to this one. Is all drawn very, very beautifully.
It's fantastic actually. Art.
Yeah, and this issue was definitely a lot more action-packed than the last one. I felt like the dialogue was a lot more stronger in this one compared to the last one. The interaction with this Lois Lane and this Superman's pretty cool, actually. And then he starts flying, obviously, as you guys can see in this 2-page spread. And they're just kind of hooked to each other the whole book, actually. He lands in another part right here. And then after that, one of the Peacemakers says, permission granted, but the director wants the target intact. The Brainiac system suggests Chem rounds level 11. The other one says, will do, though. I can't guarantee the safety of the agent. Nobody's asking you, Peacemaker. Nobody's asking you to Peacemaker. Copy that, Lazarus means life. And then, he fires a missile at her. Because keep in mind, they didn't care if Lois was going to die. They just wanted to make sure that they wanted to take Superman alive. And he lands. She shoots him again in the face with that gun. And he's like, you stop doing that. And then she says, this is Agent Lane. Suspect leaped due east approximately 8 miles to the town of... he just said, I just saved your life. No, to be fair, did he really save her life or did he put it in danger? I guess it's up for debate, honestly.
Who knows?
So... he starts giving this whole spiel about, what her organization is and how these people feel about them being here and all this other stuff. And he's going off like arrogant, cares only about herself. Thank you, Jason. That's women. Jason. Oh, God. He says it right here. There you go. Superman says women are arrogant and only care about themselves. Ah, God. Mic drop. Thank you so much, Jason. I love you. So then the tanks start rolling in to obviously get him, as we can see. And then Lois starts basically inner monologuing to herself about, what Superman is or what she thinks about him and what the mission entails and what his behavior is. She comes to this conclusion that he's kind of still a boy who has quality traits of becoming a man, but he's not really he's not a person that's a danger. He's just mostly harmless. He is not an aggressive person, actually, as she comes to. And he says, the sunstone dust will shield you. Never mind, just let me go. And then she says right here, in some ways, Superman is very much still a boy, one who hasn't yet fully deciphered who he is. In other ways, he is every bit a man with an ethos that seems unshakable. Dialogue was definitely a lot better written in this one compared to the last one. Holy mother of fuck. So then we get this other page right here where they're talking about, Superman protecting the people that he was protecting when those tanks from the Peacemakers rolled in. And another piece of dialogue here says, this feels like a man who cannot help but be earnest, who could never lie, even if he needed to. We know from the other sightings that he has traveled the globe and speaks multiple languages. That was an issue when it's been revealed that when he landed on Krypton after it exploded, he's just traveled the world, just kind of being on mute, actually, I guess, Of a life in some way interrupted, of a son without a home, a deep mistrust of authority seems ingrained, which makes sense based off of his parents that we're going to talk about here in just a moment. Suspect will prove quite difficult to coerce or apprehend. Despite repeated attempts, this agent never really had a chance. And then, she finally, I think he finally breaks from the cuffs, actually, as you guys can see right here. Or did she break them? I don't really know, actually. It looked like he just kind of broke them off. And then he's talking to her about, like, my planet. And then she says, wait, what are you trying to say? Where are you from? And then he just leaves, actually. When he gets the handcuffs off, he just flies off super quickly. So she gets all of this data from interacting with him, and then come to find out, because in the last issue it is revealed, in the first issue, you do see the first appearance of Absolute Brainiac. Absolute Brainiac is the one leading the Lazarus Corps, and she is tasked with, giving her report on Superman, as you guys can see. And then she even says to because I don't think she sees Brainiac. It's just the algorithm they're interacting with. And then she says, no, that's not what I said. She had a different interaction with him than she was thinking she was going to have. So she gave a different report. And then it translates into not what she wanted as the report to reflect on. So then the other person comes in and says, well, you don't even like doing reports. And then she's like, you know what? I'll do a report on this. I need to be a lot more thorough based off of what the algorithm was telling me. And then she begins the report. And then it goes back to Krypton. Yeah, and then it goes back to Krypton, where it basically gets into his dad and his mom. So from the first issue, they realize they have to do a certain thing to save Krypton's, life. The scientists don't believe in them because the scientists are viewed as like these higher upper echelon people, while the farmers are viewed as fucking, nothing. Essentially, they're just looked down on because they're farmers. Their, opinions are not taken seriously. That's kind of the long gist of what that is. Superman is playing outside with Crypto or his dog. And then the dad says to the, fucking hell. Jor-El is saying to the wife, I always forget the mom's name. Oh my God. Jor-El and, oh my God, not Martha. That's the mom on the earth. Martha. Good Lord. Oh my God. His actual mom and dad are talking about, we need to mine this certain stone. We need to do this certain thing. And we need to be able to convince the scientists. Laura. Yeah. And because she says, we are a miner and a mechanic from the Redlands, and they're the Science League. The truth is what they say it is. So if they won't listen, then I just steal all the sunstone I can carry, and you build us a ship big enough to hold everyone we love, because we now see what ended up happening. So Superman's suit was obviously built from his dad, but he used potentially sunstone to do that and all that other things that came along with the suit. So, you can see just the technology right here. So obviously he implemented that into the suit. And then after that, we see Superman right here, where he looks at the graffiti on a sign that says, Lazarus means death. Join the Omega Men. And then Lois Lane says, for the last part of the book, damn, that actually felt good, written by Lois Lane. So when she wrote a fully detailed report on Superman, I would imagine, and then you have the backstory of how that power came out of his suit from what they wanted to do. And then the very last page of this is basically the Peacemakers, going to this part of the place they're already at. And then they're talking about these people know where Superman is. And then one of the Peacemakers just blasts them. I would assume they just start blasting them because they turn around to the people that are just, looking at them doing all this mining, right? So, yeah, I remember from issue 1, they're doing mining on the Earth to find something. Yeah, okay. Now it all makes sense. Jesus Christ. Good Lord. So, how did you feel about this issue? Because it includes the last son of Krypton, Dust 2. Dust. What? Yeah, the last Son of Krypton. No, fucking hell. The last Dust of Krypton Part 2, Son of Nothing.
Oh,
and the last dialogue was teach them that peace has a price. And then he just blasts those people that he thought knew where Superman was, because Superman escaped them. They don't know where he's at. And they're trying to find him right now with these peacemaker soldiers. And then they have these other people that are already there trying to mine something out, which I assume is going to be used for the absolute brainiac villain they have. So, I did like this issue. I liked it a lot more than issue 1. I'll keep going with it until where it's currently at. The art was very good. The art was very, very standout. I actually enjoyed the art a lot. So I'll ask you, what are your thoughts and opinions on this issue?
I think this issue did everything that I think a second issue should do. It's the first issue I remember was a lot of setup. Like, you didn't really have much action with it from what I remember.
Yeah.
And more than anything, like, I mean, I know that they spent a little bit of time in present day, but I remember more Krypton stuff being in that first issue than anything.
Yeah, it was all Krypton set up from that mining thing they were trying to do.
Other than then they set up modern day and then Lois, right? Okay, so
yeah.
In this, I remember being on the fence about wanting to check out Absolute Superman, and I remember when they showed details for this one, it currently, this is the one that like sold me on the premise of the book, because I was really interested about the force of, he's fighting against a bunch of different peacemakers, right? And so I thought that idea was interesting, and so when you delve into it, since the setup was done, the book was able to essentially get straight into the action, and I think it was pretty solid action there.
Yeah,
and plus you get to develop a beginning of a relationship between Superman and Lois, which is cool, and you're getting to see Lois. I find it interesting. Like, I think the position of where Lois is in this book is really interesting, because it's like, well, like, what if her father, I guess, had more of a way of what he wanted her to do with her life or something like that?
Yeah.
And so, like, I like seeing that version of Lois, but then at the end, you see her journalistic side actually kind of open up, like, what you think of Lois. So I really like that. And getting more of the tease with Brainiac was cool. And so bigger setup there. And we got a little bit of Krypton stuff, not much, but, a little bit. I wanted to highlight, though, how freaking awesome Superman's cape is during so much of this, too. Like, his cape action here is so...
Yeah, apparently cool. The cape can just form and just protect them from missiles and bullets. That's pretty fucking cool. No, overall, I liked this issue a lot more compared to the first one. Now, to be fair, it can only be this way because of the setup in issue 1. But, at last, we leave that for another day. But no, overall, solid. Can't wait to, go through more issues of this series. As you guys know, for some of the more absolute books that I haven't got a chance to read and review, the other ones like Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Green Lantern, those all probably just but we'll probably just end up reading and reviewing those in trade. The ones that I want to more or less focus on to read and review as much as I can is Absolute Batman, obviously, Absolute Flash, and Absolute Superman. The other ones I can just wait until I can just read and review those in trade. Oh, Absolute Martian Manhunter. So yeah, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, those I could just read and review and trade anyway. The other 3 I'll just focus on reading and reviewing those. So that's where we're at right now. And hey, Jason Aaron said women are absolutely just arrogant. Oh, yes, thank you. Best part of the book. There we go.
Looks like you're going to the Shadow Realm, Jimbo.
I love it. Crazy. But no, yeah, we're gonna try and get through more issues of Absolute Superman. I think if we do another one of these comic book reviews, you guys will probably end up seeing like Phenomena Nova issue 1, but then again, reviewing and reading a Von Coleman book. Oh my god. Would that make me a Dungeoneer? You guys don't know. That is like inside jokes there. That what's crazy is I'm the true Dungeoneer. But no, overall, Absolute Superman issue 2 was pretty solid. I enjoyed it. Issue 1 was a setup. This was better in that leaping direction that a lot of people said. The art was very good. and the dialogue was definitely a lot more cleaner, definitely a lot more better too. So thank you guys for checking out this video. If you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. I am MSK, aka Master Swagging, and we're going to sign out, guys. See you guys later. Goodbye. Peace. And we're going to wrap it up here in just a little bit. Do you have anything planned coming up that you would like to let the audience know about? Got any big plans for collabs coming up?
Go check out the Clayface teaser reaction I just dropped today. And then me and Warren's video over Void Rivals Volume 3 will release Friday. And then Saturday's the next episode of Before the Cape. And I don't know if there's anything to... anything really else, because I'm focusing on a little more real life stuff right now than focusing on making content. I do have another comic interview with a very notable comic artist, and I'll just leave it at that, as I have something cooking up there, so you wait for that.
Hell yeah. For me, I got absolutely nothing. I just got life and women and Lamborghinis to deal with. No, I'm just joking. For today, if you guys are watching this episode live or on the replay, I'm going to be doing another episode of the MSK Show that I have to make up for with Old Man Joe, because my episode Monday with him was interrupted by a freaking taco beaner. So it's okay. So it's fine. You know, Mexican women are always just ludicrously insane. So me and Joe are going to be doing an episode of the MSK Show later on, and then I'll be probably streaming League of Legends. I'm still testing out, making sure the game audio is good for Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. I'm pretty sure I figured it out, but I'm going to do one more test stream to make sure it's good. I fixed, League got fixed because the latter 2 episodes were not good, so I deleted those, and the other ones are all fine. All those are good, but I made sure to fix League's game audio issues from the previous 2 streams. So League's good, and I'm pretty sure Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel's game audio is now fixed too. So yeah, thank you guys for checking out this episode of the MSK